Hearing. My name is Maribel Roche. I'll be your magistrate today. This is a quasi-judicial meeting, which means it's similar to court, but the rules are less formal. Those of you who are going to be providing testimony, I'll ask you now to please stand up, raise your right hand for the taking of the oath. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All righty, with that, I will ask the city to please call the first case.
These two guys didn't. Okay.
Trevor Hayworth.
Your Honor, first case on the agenda is Trevor Hayworth. I don't believe Mr. Hayworth is here. However, our code officer, our base officer, is going to talk to you. Is Nello here?
Going to try to get our beach cases first out?
Pardon?
Are we trying to get our beach cases out first?
Yes.
Is that what we're trying to do? Okay.
If you'll notice, number 2 has paid, and you don't have this on your agenda, but number 5 has also paid. So,
All right, I didn't know.
you need to be sworn in also.
Right hand, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, please proceed.
Asha, can you please state your full name for the record?
Nello Ian Cernoia.
And are you employed by the town of Fort Myers Beach?
I'm employed by the town of Fort Myers Beach. I'm a beach and street enforcer, work for base. Been employed for 5 years.
And in that capacity, you're responsible for enforcing the town's parking code.
Correct.
And with respect to the case that we're here, citation number. Citation 704-27803. Are you familiar with that citation and the facts surrounding the issuance of the citation?
Yes, I am.
Can you please tell the special magistrate the circumstances under which you issued said citation?
Okay. Your Honor, my name is Nello Cernoia. I'm with base. On the particular morning of December 14th of 19 at approximately 11:45 a.m., while I was patrolling the downtown area, I turned the corner of Estero Boulevard in Old San Carlos and noticed that there was a three-wheeled vehicle parked in a handicap spot. This spot is officially called space number 64. I noticed that the vehicle had neither a handicap plate or handicap placard hanging from the mirror. At this point, I saw a couple of gentlemen standing off to the left of the vehicle. I said to these gentlemen, "Is that your vehicle?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "I would recommend that you move it because you are in a handicap spot." Mr. Haywood said, "I'll move it when I'm done downloading the weather app." I said, "Sir, I really think you should move the vehicle now. The ADA Association would not approve of your unauthorized vehicle parking in that spot." Mr. Haywood said, "I'll move it when I'm ready." At this point in time, I pulled into the first available spot and started to write the vehicle a violation for illegally parked in a handicap spot. If you look at the pictures, Your Honor, you could see pictures. I was asking Mr. Haywood to move his vehicle. He pointed to his phone, telling me once again, "I'll move it when I'm done downloading this app." As I exited my vehicle and proceeded with starting the procedure of writing this vehicle, that's when Mr. Haywood and his associate decided I was serious, and they jumped in the vehicle and tried to speed away. At this point in time, the violation had already been initiated. After Mr. Haywood and his associates sped away, I finalized the violation. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Haywood showed back up and said something like, "Can't we play nice, like nice adults? Do we have to act like children?" I said, "Nothing more needs to be said. Would you like me to hand you the violation or put it in the mail?" Mr. Haywood reached in my vehicle and grabbed one of my personal microfibers, which I keep all my equipment on, and he started to walk away. And I told Mr. Haywood, "You know, I am an officer of the law." And he said, "You're nothing but a effing meter maid." He threw my towel to the ground and jogged away. This happened on this particular day. The day before, we had written Mr. Haywood and his vehicles 3 violations for overtime meter, overtime sign. They were parking the vehicles in prime spots, and they were not properly feeding the meter, or they were staying in the spot longer. They had a big sign that said "Rent me," and that was the preceding day, and then this is the day after. So, and if you look at the yellow sheet of Florida statute, it is unlawful for any person to stop, stand, or park a vehicle within a specialized designated area unless the vehicle displays a parking permit. A parking enforcement specialist finds a vehicle in violation of this subsection. The officer may charge the owner of the operator in charge of the violation in violation with a non-criminal traffic infraction. So he was in handicap, didn't want to move it. I issued him a violation.
Officer, did you send out the citation to the address of, on record of Mr. Hayworth, I believe? It's not Hayworth. Hayworth.
Hayward?
Hayworth.
Okay.
According to, did you send out the citation?
Yes, we
Okay.
sent it out, and actually, Supervisor Mr. Sears went and visited him and spoke to him about this incident. So he was quite familiar with it. He had delivered it.
And has the citation gone unpaid?
Yes, yes.
Do you have anything further?
No.
At this point in time, Madam Special Magistrate, we'd ask a finding of violation of the section 28-22L of the town's Code of Ordinances, and request the imposition of the fine specified in the citation, as well as administrative costs.
We have somebody here on behalf of the respondent? Okay. Please hereby noted that nobody's present on behalf of the respondent. I hereby find that the violation, based on the evidence, I hereby find that the violation as stated in the citation, number 7042780 did exist, and I'm hereby imposing the fine of $200 pursuant to the citation, and assessing $75 in fees and cost as incurred by the town in bringing this matter before the magistrate.
We ask that it be paid within 10 days.
Absolutely, 10 days.
Thank you.
Do we know if the vehicle was checked in with the DMV to see who the owner is?
The vehicle, yeah, Doug, the supervisor, looked into it. It's a rental company. This gentleman and his mother own the company, and what they do, they rent these 3-wheel motorcycles or vehicles. And they ran the plate through, and it is
Okay.
owned by this company.
The reason I ask is the statute actually says the owner or operator, so technically you could actually be citing both of them.
Right.
So, and there's actually since it's a commercial vehicle, there's
At this point,
collectible.
at this point in time, we're just asking for the operator
Okay.
who we've identified and testified to this, Mr. Hayworth.
that's the only citation I have, but I was surprised that
Correct.
the owner of the vehicle wasn't also cited.
Good to know.
Thank you.
All right, Your Honor, as you see on the agenda, number 2 has been paid, so we're going to move to number 3, Chris Shaline. Sheline.
The officer is Officer Lee.
Does that work over there?
Officer Lee, can you please state your full name for the record and your place of employment?
Harry Lee, work for Base Employment City of Fort Myers Beach.
And in that capacity, are you responsible for enforcing the town's parking regulations?
I am.
Did you have occasion to issue citation 709-47365?
I did.
Can you please tell the special magistrate how you came to issue that citation?
On November, November 25th, 2019, I was doing my normal patrolling duties, pulled into Lanark Street, checking parking spaces for payment or non-payment. Upon checking the app, the space in question, number 71, I showed no vehicle or no payment on that space. So I checked to see if the vehicle possibly could be handicapped or did have a city pass. It did not. So at that point, for non-payment of space 71, I did issue a citation.
Did you then send the citation out by mail to the owner or operator of this particular vehicle?
The citation was placed on the windshield of the vehicle at that point.
Okay. And subsequent to that point in time, did the owner reach out and request for the hearing today?
He did.
Do you have anything additional to add?
No, at times there's problems. You pay by app on these spaces, and on each space there is a sign that shows the space number, road number, dead mark number. And there's also a phone number on each space that you can call if you got a problem with downloading the app. And we also have accesses that have pay stations where you can pay by credit card, debit card, or money. And the closest one actually to Lanark would be going north about a few accesses to Newton Park or Stringview Avenue. So either way, if you do have a problem, there's other accesses to go to, or there's a phone number you can call to get help with downloading the app.
Officer, when Mr. Shaleen, I hope I pronounced that right.
Sheline,
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Sheline.
Close enough.
When you had contact with Mr. Sheline, did he indicate any reason why there was an issue or an explanation as to why this didn't register as a pay spot?
I did not have personal contact with Mr. Beeline. He had called into the office at a later point.
Okay. Nothing further at this time.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't
Please,
sure the
give me your name.
Chris
Okay.
Sheline.
Okay.
I was not sure of the format, so I brought in some documentation. My issue's not with parking meters or their job or anything like that. I have the proof that I did pay for that space for the time period that I was, or excuse me, a space within that spot of 3 spaces. My issue is I paid, left within the time frame. I have proof of that. Within the email you send me, it lists where all the tickets were for that day. It's very obvious that 73 was paid twice. Now I go to the citation. Your failure to follow these rules is no excuse to not pay the ticket, but with the way it's set up, and I have pictures here, it's not a failure of me. I'm at the mercy of the person before me to park in order to get the correct spot. You have 3 posts on a dirt side road with no markings, and if the person prior parks in the middle spot and picks the wrong number, everyone else is screwed. So what are your choices then? Don't pay, risk your chances. I mean, he mentions there's closer spots, but I mean, your job is to know those spots. That's harder said than done. The cell service thing, I mean, yeah, great on the surface if you have Verizon. I don't. I have Sprint. It's very hard to get any signal on Fort Myers Beach. So I guess my point being is I paid the amount of money. I left within my time frame. I did everything I could to get you guys your parking funds, and I'm just asking, I guess, for some contextual understanding with the documentation I have. It's digital and on paper if you'd like to look at it, but there's things out of my control. I can't control if somebody doesn't park correctly before me, and then all 3 spots are rendered useless depending on how they're looked at.
Have you shown those documents to the city attorney?
No.
Could you go ahead and please show those to him, and then I'll take a look at those.
Your Honor, I have a printout from Mr. Malloy that Space 71 was not paid at all on November 25th, 2000.
Right, then Space 73 was paid twice, which is, and it's, yeah.
On the mic,
Yeah,
hold
you
on.
need to
Let
get
me
the
let him go ahead and,
Here.
let the attorney go ahead and look at your documents,
So here's the,
and then they'll come to me.
You know, I'd have that, don't worry.
well, that's the proof that I paid and was there for the time frame I got the citation. I was not over the meter, so that's step 1. Then we get to the issue of, I guess, it being the wrong space. I received pictures of my license plate, a sign, and nothing else. So I've gone back and taken pictures, and I mean, looked at this. It's very clear I paid. It's clear this space was paid. 71 was not, and 70 was also paid twice. So there was clearly an issue going on there. And I paid. So I guess I just, it seems
You
predatory.
can go back, you really.
But let me go ahead and take those documents, and then you can go back to,
Here.
I have more documents. These are the paper ones.
you can go ahead and give them to me.
You keep, okay.
Special Magistrate, I think that really the one with his notations is probably the one that is appropriate to the discussion we're having.
The screenshot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I drew a diagram of how the whole system falls apart if one car interprets the space wrong. So the entire system banks on the first person getting their parking aligned correctly in an area with no lined spaces. That is not something I can control, so I did my best there and I paid. I guess the alternative would be go somewhere else, but, you know, why? I paid. Yeah, I guess that's the thing, yeah. And I thought about sneaking it, but I didn't.
Did you say if you had pictures of the area?
I do, well, no, because it wasn't clearly marked on there, so I took a picture of the setup in another area. It's the same thing on a side road to show you what these look like.
Oh, so it's not the
My
exact
area was
area.
actually worse, because it's filled with trees and brush. The one I took pictures of is somewhat clear. I'd be happy to get those on Google Maps, but I figured the more fact that I paid and kind of the diagrams of just the system in general would be sufficient enough.
You have a bank account statement showing that it was paid?
The $2 or $3, whatever it was, I could pull one up. What was the date of that again, the 25th?
25th. We also have litigation on there that shows that you need to put the correct space number.
Yeah, I mean,
Responsibility of each one.
Right, but with the person before you not doing it, how can I?
you can.
You put in a space number that.
I mean, that's the point. We've had this issue, Mr. Special Magistrate, has come before you before.
I know it has.
In prior instances. The signage clearly says it is the responsibility of the person parking their vehicle to enter the proper information. The sign is right in front of the vehicle, identifying the number. The app will, as I understand it, because I use a similar app, it will gladly take your money. I'm not aware of anything in the app that would prohibit you from entering a duplicate number. So if someone else has previously parked and maybe misidentified and had the same issue, it's not going to reject your request to park in space number 71. This is not like you get the benefit of the prior people who may have parked there. And just as importantly, is the signage says is that if there is an issue, here's the number to call.
If you have self-service and a cell phone with Verizon, If you have Sprint, T-Mobile, any other ones, that's a lot harder than it seems, and there's not a lot of payphones around. Again, so I did my best and paid. I'm not arguing your system. It's predatory, in my opinion. I'm not here to change that. But I paid, you got the money, I left early within my time frame and have shown that it's quite confusing, to be honest. I get it now, but the first time it's quite confusing, and it's somewhat out of your control with the people before you. So you're interpreting things based off of decisions made by the cars there. And I get you've probably seen these cases before, but that's a problem.
Alrighty, I think I've heard enough evidence. I'm ready to go ahead and issue my ruling. I hereby find that the violation as stated in citation number 70947365 did exist. However, I'm reducing the fine of $70 to $35, no admin fees.
Thank you. Am I done?
Yeah,
Oh.
10 days, I think, yeah, that's it. I
To be
think
paid
10
within 10 days.
Yeah, 10 days.
Can I just pay here?
You can just pay now, I think outside, right outside. Oh, yeah, this is yours.
Thank you.
Your Honor, next we have Tanya Petrie.
The officer is, again, Officer Lee. Oh,
Oh,
man. They're switching it up on us. David Lee. That's what's here. Officer Lee, can you please state your name and place of employment for the record?
David Lee, I work for Base for County.
And in that capacity, are you responsible for enforcing the town's parking code?
Yes.
Are you familiar with citation 700222116?
Yes, I am.
Can you please tell the special magistrate how you're so familiar?
Working on November the 11th, it was 7:27 PM. I was downtown. Check, check. It's not working.
Use the other one.
just go over there.
Yeah, just go to the other one. Everyone who's going to testify, we have problems with this particular microphone, so if you can just go to that one directly, make everything go easier. Thank you.
It was November 11th of 2019, 7:27 PM. I was checking parking downtown on Old San Carlos, and spot 4, which is very close to Estero Boulevard, was showing on my app as it should be empty. No one had paid for that spot. There was a Jeep Wrangler parked there, and so I issued, there was no one around it, so I issued a parking citation for it. It did have a ticket in the front window where the driver had paid, but that ticket had expired at 7:06, so it was 21 minutes expired when I wrote the ticket. And I left the ticket underneath the windshield wiper. And after I moved on, the owner had not appeared.
Further from the city?
Did you have any contact with the car owner?
I did not.
Did you issue the citation by either mailing or placing it on the vehicle?
I put it on the vehicle.
Okay. Subsequent to that point in time, has there been any information indicating that Ms. Petrie has requested a hearing?
Yes, she had called in and spoke to Supervisor Malloy and asked for a hearing.
Okay. And as of this date, the citation goes unpaid? Has been-
Correct.
And do you have any additional information you'd like to provide to the special magistrate?
No, sir. No.
Madam Special Magistrate, based on the evidence testimony presented, we asked for a determination that the citation was properly issued and request that an order to the effect that the specified amount of the citation and as well as administrative fee be paid within 10 days.
Have somebody here on behalf of the respondent? All right, there's nobody here. I hereby find that based on the evidence presented in regards to citation number 700222116, that the violation stated therein did exist, and I'm thereby imposing the fine of the $35 and assessing $75 in fees and cost as incurred by the town in bringing this matter to the magistrate and ordering the vehicle owner to pay this amount within 10 days.
Thank you. Next case is case number 6. The violator's name is Esmeralda Marpali, I'm sorry, and the officer is James Blackwood. Officer Blackwood, please state your full name for the record and your place of employment.
James Blackwood, I work for the town of Fort Myers Beach base.
And in that capacity, are you responsible for enforcing the town's parking regulations? Are you familiar with the citation number 706-02906?
I am.
Can you please tell the special magistrate how you were familiar with this case?
I was checking parking meters under the bridge, Mantanza Pass, Bridge Lot 2, and I came across a Mercedes-Benz, spot 137. Checking my app, the space was expired, and I subsequently wrote a ticket.
Did you issue the citation by placing the ticket on the vehicle or by mailing it?
Under the wiper blade on the driver's side.
Subsequent to the issuance of the citation, have you had any contact by Ms. Marpali?
I have not.
Do you know if anyone else in the town has?
I believe she contacted our office and requested a hearing date.
Okay. And it was scheduled as a result for today?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you have anything additional that you would like to provide in the way of information to the special magistrate? Madam Special Magistrate, based upon the evidence testimony here this morning, the town would ask that you find that the citation was properly issued for overtime violation and impose the fine specified in the citation as well as the administrative fees. That concludes the town's case.
Here on behalf of the respondent. All right, I hereby find that based on the evidence presented in regards to citation number 7080, is that an 8? Yeah, 708 or 6? 706-02906. I hereby find that the violation as stated in said citation did exist, and I'm imposing the fine of $35 and assessing $75 in fees and costs incurred by the town in bringing this matter before the magistrate.
10 days to pay.
In 10 days to pay.
Thank you. Madam Special Magistrate, unless there's any objection on your behalf or this staff, which there isn't, we'd just rather at least now then go and process the cases based on people who are present so we can
Yes,
get.
please.
Okay. Oh, actually, that's the remainder. So, the next case that the town is going to present is the owner of record is Ronald L. Yankee. The officer in question is Chad Schutz. Sorry. We just commonly refer to him as Chad. No last name.
All right, Chad, no last name.
Good morning, Chad Schutz, environmental staff, town of Fort Myers Beach.
Mr. Schutz, in your capacity as the environmental specialist for the town, are you responsible for reviewing and dealing with violations of the town's regulations dealing with environmental issues?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with case number 2019-0764 that we're here for this morning?
Yes, sir.
Can you please tell the special magistrate how you were so familiar?
Good morning. Staff received a complaint regarding 298 Ohio with mangrove cutting. Staff investigated and observed approximately 400 square meters east of the dock that had been destroyed and approximately 800 square meters of mangroves that had been hedged and altered below 6 feet. Some of those that had been cut west of the dock, the diameter of the trunks were 4 inches plus, indicating the mangroves may have been above 10 feet at the time when they were cut, which is significant in relation to state statute, Mangrove Trimming and Preservation Act.
Did you have an opportunity to take any photographs of the alleged violation while you were on site?
I did. What's showing on the PowerPoint first will be the noticing documentation. Is that live?
Yeah, so let's kind of do it in reverse, if we can. The photographs of the violation.
Third slide, please. One more, please. One more. Okay.
Right. Do these photographs, are these the photographs that you took on the date of your inspection?
No, sir. So these were taken actually yesterday to give measurements relative to what had been cut to better document the size of the mangroves and where they had been cut.
Okay. Do these pictures, let me ask it this way, do these pictures reflect the condition of the property, substantially reflect the condition of the property when you originally visited the site?
Yes, sir, with maybe a little bit more growth.
Okay. As a result of the passage of time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you inspect the town's records and state records to determine whether or not any the appropriate permits had been obtained to do this work?
Yes, sir.
And what was the result of that research?
There was permitting regarding a dock, a self-certification of exemption. However, there is nothing with regards to mangrove.
Yeah, that's my question. Just only to the mangroves. Was a permit obtained either from the town or from the state to trim these mangroves?
Yes, sir.
And is a permit required under town code and state law before you can trim mangroves in the state of Florida and within the town of Fort Myers Beach?
To the degree that these were trimmed and destroyed, yes, sir.
Okay. Did you determine, subsequent to your inspection, the ownership of the property in question?
Yes, sir.
And who is that?
Ronald Yankee.
And did you issue a notice of violation to Mr. Yankee?
Staff did, yes, sir.
Okay. Did you issue a notice of hearing of today's hearing to Mr. Yankee?
Yes, sir.
The photographs in the packet, is that what was sent out to Mr. Yankee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As of today's date, have the appropriate permits been obtained for the work in question?
No, sir.
So your professional opinion that the condition of the property at today's date, before, as you testify here before the special magistrate, that the actions taken are in violation of section 14-455 of the Town Land Development Code?
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything else that you would wish to add?
Not unless anybody has any other questions.
At this time, Madam Special Magistrate, we move into the record, the staff file containing the photographs, the notices of violation, notice of hearing, and all the materials that Mr. Schutz has testified to this morning.
Admitted into evidence. Do we have somebody here on behalf of the property owners? Defendant, coming up, state your name and relationship to the case, please.
Good morning. My name is David Jones.
You got sworn in, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
My granddaughter gave me the daycare flu, so excuse me if I'm dripping.
I chuckle because I've been there. That's why I'm not menacing.
It's all right. I'm a professional mangrove trimmer by virtue of being both a landscape architect and an ISA certified arborist. And I've dealt with a number of these kind of cases over the years since the law went into effect in 1995. The problem is that we're not a profession that has billboards or advertising, and most people don't even know you need somebody like me to do some work on mangroves. My client called me last week late because she'd gone to DEP to get a list of people who do this kind of stuff. So consequently, I'm here. The original citation was issued in November 1st, and it's a long time from then, but there was a reissuance on the 10th of January, changing the date. So even though we're late, I beg for some forgiveness on that part too. The problem with this is today is that I have to go to DEP to resolve this issue. And since the state has jurisdiction over the mangroves only, they're the ones who have to figure out what I need to do. And as I understand the citation, I just have to come back to you and show you that I've satisfied the state, however that turns out to be. That process can go, I've had them go over a year, but I've never had to go in and turn myself in, so this is a strange case. It's clear from the photographs that they were not pruned properly. My client hired a local tree company or somebody, and I don't know what they were thinking. If they'd been in Fort Myers for 5 minutes, they know that you can't do that. So what I'm requesting is some time to go to the state, to have a pre-app, to meet with their people, decide how exactly we're going to move forward, and then do that in as timely a manner as possible. Statutorily, they have some review periods. If I submit an application, they have 30 days to tell me whether or not it's RAI, it has sufficient information, and so forth. So it's not something, I mean, I can control how fast I work, but I can't control how fast the system works. I don't know how much time to ask for, but I do need, I would say, I don't think 90 days is going to be enough, but maybe a time and then a communication requirement with Chad to say, here's where we are on it, so that you can extend it if we need to. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Has anything been submitted yet to DEP?
I'm sorry?
Has anything been submitted yet to DEP?
I have called to try to get a pre-app scheduled, but this time of year it's difficult for everybody to get hooked up, but it'll happen immediately.
When were you retained?
They usually, once they get me a response, it happens within 2 weeks to a month.
When were you retained?
When was I retained?
When
Oh,
were you retained?
well, I'm actually not formally, but they talked to me the first time last Thursday.
The mangroves are irreparably harmed by by the cutting of these mangroves the way they were done.
Western side, they're dead. The red mangroves, reds are not amenable to pruning, and they croak. The ones on the northern side, they look fine. They'll come back.
Town has a response. I'm ready to respond.
Yeah, what the town would ask in the way of an order is a determination that the violation occurred and that it is irreversible, because some of these mangroves, the way they were before, can't be replaced. And to the extent that there's the issue of getting the state permit, what we would suggest as far as compliance deadline is maybe a status report in a month or two as to where he is where the property owner is in the state permitting process, so we can then adjust accordingly, because we do understand, and unless staff has a differing opinion, we'll abide by whatever timeframe is specified in any type of consent agreement or restoration agreement between the property owner and DEP. Is that acceptable?
Well, I can tell from my past experience that something like this, I'm gonna keep a short leash on.
30 days, every
Yeah,
30 days?
I think I'm ready to go ahead and issue the ruling.
Okay.
And we do ask for a finding violation and imposition of $1,000 for the irreversible nature of the violation.
All right, I hereby find that the violation as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continues to exist, and that irreparable harm has been done to the mangroves on the site. Due to the irreparable harm, I am hereby imposing a one-time fine of $1,500, and I'm ordering the property owner to come into compliance within 45 days or face a fine of $250 a day, with a caveat that the case is to be brought back to me within 30 days, and at that time, depending on the amount of work that has been completed, then you may request for an extension of those 45 days. But I do want to go ahead and get a status on how it's proceeding at the next meeting.
Can I comment on that, please?
No. The ruling is done. I want to make sure that things are moving.
Oh, no,
I'm very familiar with the DEP process. I am actually dealing with, in a different jurisdiction, with a much, much, much larger environmental impact, which should have taken the year that you're proposing. It has moved relatively quick because the owners have been pushing it. So it is on the owners to go ahead and make sure that these things keep moving along the way. And that's the reason that I want to make sure that we keep a short leash on it, 30-day status conference.
I wanted to speak to the fine. I think, I didn't spend that much time, but I believe there's 3 dead red mangroves.
It doesn't matter. There's been irreparable harm done to the mangroves. My ruling stands. Thank you, sir. Next case?
Yes, the next case, number 14, 15, 16, and 17 on the agenda are all the same property owner and same address. But obviously they're different violations. If it is the special magistrate's preference, staff can present all of the cases at one time, or we can do them individually.
Let's do them individually so that we don't get the citations.
Okay.
And the violations confused.
Since the time that this hearing started and now, the representative of the property owner has arrived but hasn't been sworn in.
So the property owner, yeah, Ms. Ortiz.
I'll have her sworn in when she's ready to go ahead and give testimony. You can come up front if you want, but you still need to get sworn in.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, Eli's new,
Yep.
he just did that.
Well, you're testifying first, and then she has a
The
chance
first
to
case,
speak.
special magistrate, is case number CE 18-077, I'm sorry, 0700, for violation of section 6-111 of the Land Development Code, which adopts by reference the Florida Building Code, section 105.1. The presenting officer is Officer Eli Lee. And we're flush with Lees.
No relations.
Officer Lee, can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Eli Lee,
And who are you employed with?
the town of Fort Myers Beach.
In what capacity?
I'm the code compliance officer.
Are you familiar with this case CE 18-0700?
Yes.
Can you please tell the special magistrate where the property is located and the nature of the violation?
So 268, 270 Nature View, just, kind of going toward the south end of the island, near kind of Bayos area. So the violation is a work without permit interior remodel. So back in June of 2015, there was a fire reported on the property, and it kind of affected the second floor of the property and the roof. And the roof we'll get to later. But so there's a notice of violation that was issued out 8/15/2018, of course, the posting and the USPS tracking, and then, of course, there was a hearing date, so forth and so on, and then, this is where we are today. So as it stands right now, there has not been any permits that's been turned into the town for interior remodel. And as you go through the packet, you will see that there is the fire arson report, that shows of the fire when it happened, and the damage it took as a result. And then as you continue to go further, you see the pictures of the interior remodel after the fire. You see the second floor is kind of damaged a little bit or a lot. And then as you continue to go later on through the packet, you see that there's interior remodel that we got from third-party websites that shows that, the living room has been, updated, second floor has been updated, just a full interior remodel. And as I stated, there has not been any permits turned into the town that shows that this remodel was allowed.
And did you have an opportunity to determine who the property owner was?
As far as meeting with them, or
Both.
I have not was able to. They haven't reached out to me or talked to them about the remodel or the permanent process or anything. I tried. They have a phone number file. I tried calling, but it was a dead number, so I couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Who is the owner of the property, to the best of the town's knowledge?
Dania Carbello Ortiz and Daisy Garcia. Oh, she's right there. Yeah.
We'll go with that. Did you have an opportunity to ultimately issue a notice of violation and a notice of hearing that led to today's hearing?
Yes, there was the original notice of violation and the original notice of hearing, then we did the amended notice of hearing for today's date.
Okay. And are those in the packet that has been provided to the special magistrate?
Yes, it should be in the packet.
And do the pictures that are in the package accurately reflect the condition of the property when the inspection took place, showing the interior remodeling that you testified about?
Yes.
And as I think you testified, but to make sure for the record, you did review the town's permitting database, and no permits have ever been submitted for this work?
No permits have been submitted.
At this time, Special Magistrate, we'd ask that the file be entered into the record showing the photographs that Officer Lee has already testified as to, the notice of hearing, the notice of violation, the notice of hearing, and the record of having those been sent out, as well as posted on the property. And I think it said the photographs showing the nature of the interior remodeling without a permit.
When was were those pictures taken, do you know?
This picture was taken, I think, shortly after the fire with the previous code enforcement officer. So on the picture, it's timestamped June of 2015, and the fire took place June of 2015 as well.
Okay, got it. And then the other ones are pictures taken in 2018 showing the remodel
Yes,
finished,
correct.
when there really shouldn't be anything there.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Just want to make sure that my date's squared away.
Yeah.
All right, is there anything further from the town?
Nothing at this time.
Can we go ahead and speak on behalf of the person that appeared on behalf of the property owner coming up? Before you say anything, let me go ahead and have you raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, you may proceed. Please state your name and relationship to the property, please. Okay.
I'm the owner.
What happened with these,
We had the fire in 2015,
mhm.
and the work was done in 2018 because the insurance and all the time that it took. Whom I had do the work, I was under the impression that everything was done correctly. Oh, that everything had been done with permits and everything had been done correctly. I don't live here, so it made it a little bit difficult to be here all the time. I don't know who he is. I didn't see him. The person who was in charge before, I was communicating with her when I did get the, information from her to what to do next. Then that person was gone, and I think I've communicated a little bit with her back and forth to sit and just do whatever needs to be done at this point. I've had some issues where I've been unavailable physically to be here, But
Have you retained anybody to help you through the process?
I found 2 companies that can help me, and I just need, like, what to do, and so we'll,
The concern I have is that the citation is dated 2018, and here we are in 2020, and nothing appears to have been done.
didn't do work, we started work in 2018 and finished last summer of 2019.
The citation that was sent out to you.
I know, I wasn't, I didn't get any of that until,
You live in Miami Springs?
I live in Miami Springs.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So we have a
East
citation here.
Coast.
So we have a citation here that is dated August 15th of 2018 that was sent to your address via certified mail return receipt. And that, again, the date on that one is 8/15 of 2018.
none of those things, everything was just kind of set aside.
It seems to me that you've had since 2018, since you got the citation, to become aware that their work was done without permits, and it's been almost 2 years now.
Physically be there for that.
All right, is there anything from the?
Yeah, Special Magistrate, you know, obviously, we're going to have the other cases that you're going to hear that are all essentially related to the same underlying facts, but because of different sections of the code or different requirements of the Florida Building Code, they were issued separately. But more importantly, as the Special Magistrate has already noted, the evidence that this town has presented shows that this has been going on for a number of years. And while I understand that they may have had a contractor, and they thought that the contractor was dealing with it, there was no follow-up. And now what we have is what appears to be the operation of vacation rental in a completely renovated structure that's had no inspections. So there's a health safety issue here of electric, structural elements that we have no clue whether or not there's a code or not. And you know, to the extent that the property owner inquired, you know, they're going to have to engage the services of an engineer in order to comply with the Florida building requirement. That says that they have to have someone certify that, and to be eligible for an after-the-fact permit, that they're going to have to engage an engineer or an architect to certify all the work that's been done, it meets code.
That I looked into,
All right,
to
so
get an engineer.
do you have already like a good feel for what is it that you have to do? You have to get those permits. And in order to get the permits, you're going to have to hire professionals.
I just like to sit with someone so they can,
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and issue my ruling, and then Daphne, who can she sit with?
As soon as this is over, if she wants to wait, I can talk to her, but it's online, it's a permitting process, you know, so, but I can
that's fine.
tell her the same thing,
If
yeah.
it's,
Yeah, this is a 105. You just need to get the permits. In order to get the permits, you need to hire someone.
hire the company, get the permits.
There's one additional aspect of relief that staff would ask is, to the extent that this structure or this home is being advertised and available for general public, we'd ask that use cease, because it's unsafe. It's absolutely unsafe to
And
be
I do agree
used
with
for
that.
any purposes until it's been inspected by staff.
I know, I do agree with that.
When you say by staff, you mean by someone from here?
By the town. We have a building official that has to certify that it meets Florida Building Code, and
When can they do that?
Gotta get the permit first.
Because this home being 2 years through the insurance, another year sitting empty while the work,
I'm gonna make it very, I'm gonna give you the best incentive that I can give you to go ahead and make it quick. All right, I hereby find that based on the evidence presented, that the violations, as stated in the notice of violation for case number CE 18-0700, exist and continue to exist. This is a building code violation, failure to have a permit. I'm hereby ordering the property owners to come into compliance within 30 days, otherwise face a fine of $250. I'm also ordering the property owner to immediately cease the rentals of the property due to the life safety hazards this particular property poses by virtue of not having the required permits and inspections. So you can come back for the next hearing if you need additional time, but by then, have something moving, okay? If you don't have something moving, I'm not gonna grant a request an extension. Even though you had work done by somebody who didn't do what they were supposed to do, you've had notice for almost 2 years. You just need to get your professionals in line. They can go ahead and do what they need to do, get their ducks in a row, apply for the building permit. The 30-day, absent there being a delay with the town building department process and approving permits, 30 days should be more than plenty for somebody who knows what they're doing. But again, sometimes things do happen with the town where they're a little backed up. If that's the case, then come back, request for that extension.
If there's, an issue, at that point, we'll report to you in the 30 days assuming the process is moving forward.
But at 30 days, if you need additional time, you can come back, but I'm telling you right now, you better have all your documents at least submitted.
Once they bring in the documents, is that when they can come and?
Well, you definitely will go ahead and walk you through that.
Special
Okay.
Magistrate, we also asked the $75 admin fee.
Oh, yeah, I'm adding to that the $75 administrative, adding $75 in fees and costs incurred by the town and bringing this matter before the magistrate.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one?
Next one is case CE 180724. Again, the presenting officer is Eli Lee, and the property is the same location. But in this instance, it's work without a permit. They did roof work without the required permit, which is again, a separate requirement of the code.
On that one, there was the only thing they did to the roof.
Let him go ahead and present, and then you can go ahead and rebuttal. Okay, go ahead.
I thought it was all the same.
No, they have them in separate cases.
Bless you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So this falls in kind of with the same property 26827 Nature View Court. Subsequently, after the fire and the fire report, the roof was also damaged as well. So as we go through the packet, the original notice of violation for the roof, work without permit, was sent out 8/15, same time as the last case for the interior remodel, sent out same time. For the roof, there's postings for the original, the tracking of it, and of course the notice of hearing, the original posting for it, and then we have the amended notice of hearing for today about the work without permit roof. Postings of it, the green, certified. Of course, we have the fire arson, task force report, stating about the fire, the damage that's done. And of course, the roof was also affected by the fire. As we continue to go through the packet, you can see that it's timestamped, but 6/11, 2015. You kind of see the roof and how it looks like and things of that nature. And as we, continue to go, you see on the picture back in 2019, Google Images, Google Earth, how the roof looks today compared to what the roof looks, back then. And of course, you can see on the 2016, this right here, you see that in 2016, the roof looks very different than what it does today. So of course, because of the fire, they had to, do the necessary work to fix the roof. But as of today, there still has not been a permit for the roof and the work that's been done.
Further from the town?
No. Well, let me rephrase that. Officer Lee, the package that you just testified in the photographs, do they accurately reflect the condition of the property at the time that the photographs were taken?
Correct.
And since prior to today's hearing, did you verify and inspect the town's database to determine whether or not any permits had been obtained for the roof in question?
Yes, correct.
Is any record of?
There's no permits for the roof.
Okay. Was a notice of violation and notice of hearing forwarded to the property owner.
Yes.
And is that green card showing that they received it and as well as the property was posted, is it in the file?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Madam Special Magistrate, this time the city would enter the file into the record with the photographs and the notice of hearing and notice of violations. This was previously testified by Officer Lee. Based upon the evidence testimony of Officer Lee, we ask that the Special Magistrate enter the same relief or order as in the previous case on the same property. 30 days for compliance, $250 a day for any day thereafter in violation, and no rentals until the property is permitted, and the admin fee of $75.
Documents from the town are so admitted into evidence. I'm going to go ahead and allow the property owner to come back in regards to the roofing case. There is going to be a different one. This one's the roof. It's basically the same thing? Same thing? They're different cases. Property? Yeah. Okay, so same response as before? Okay. So, based on the evidence presented, I hereby find that the violation as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continues to exist. I'm hereby ordering the property owner to come into compliance within 30 days. This one should be easier because it's just a roof. Come into compliance within 30 days. Otherwise, face a fine of $250 per day until the property is brought into compliance, and the property shall not be occupied until the property is brought into compliance, and I'm also assessing the $75 in fees and costs incurred by the town and bringing this matter before the magistrate. Because remember that you have, it's two pieces, so the roof, this case was only about the roof, so if you get that one resolved, then at least you have one less case to deal with. The other one was the interior portions, the first one, okay?
It's gonna probably be like more.
Exactly. That one I anticipate you might need a little bit more time, but I want to make sure that you have it moving. The roof, it's just the roof.
Yeah, and the roof, the actual roof, they just painted it, the bottom, the whatever, edges, that's what was replaced and fixed, so I know that.
But the aerial shows that it's different, that
No, the roof is exactly the same. The only difference in the roof is that it was blue before and it's white now. The edge, whatever, the bottom of the edge that comes over the house, that part that had the fire damage on the plastics, on the siding, that was all replaced and fixed.
But
Our actual roof was just painted from blue to white.
the aerials that have been presented by the town show a different story. I'll have Daphne will go ahead and show you
It's
those.
fine, they'll do it.
That's fine.
Needs to be done then.
We certainly will
Yeah.
sit down with the property owner after the hearing to
Yeah.
address all the
Perfect.
the violations.
All right, and then let's go ahead and do the next one.
Yes, the next case is on the agenda is number 16. It's case CE 190517. Again, presenting is Officer Lee.
No, Kristen Schumacher.
And, well, I was going to say assisted by Ms. Schumacher, who has to step away from the video.
Kristen's the
Chris.
short-term
Yeah, I
officer.
know. Swap people.
Are you sworn in?
Yeah.
Do you swear affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Ms. Schumacher, can you please tell the special magistrate your full name and your position with the town of Fort Myers Beach?
Kristen Schumacher, and short-term rental coordinator, code enforcement administrator.
And in that capacity as the short-term rental coordinator, is it your responsibility to oversee and process short-term rental applications and enforcement of the short-term rental regulations of the town of Fort Myers Beach?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the case CE 190517?
Yes.
Is this, can you please tell the special magistrate the location of the property that is the subject of that case?
68-270 Nature View Court.
And what is the nature of the violation? And please tell the special magistrate how you are familiar and the results of your investigation.
They're zoned in a weekly rental zone, I believe it's RM, which is they're allowed minimum of 7-day rentals. We got complaints from neighbors stating they're renting for less than 7 days. So through online investigations and photos from neighbors, we found that they are renting for less than 7 days.
So we're clear what you mean by daily rentals in a weekly rental zone is that there's no limitation on, in a month, the number of weeks that they can rent, but it has to be in weekly increments, correct?
Yes,
Okay. So anything less than a full 7-day is a violation of the code?
that is correct.
Okay. And based upon your testimony here, how did you go about ascertaining that they were having rentals for less than weekly and for daily?
I went through, they have online calendars showing that they're offering, or that they're booked for 4 days, 3 days, 5 days. Also, neighbors have sent in pictures with affidavits stating that such and such date, let me grab my dates. For example, in your packet, on 8/31, there's renters arrive at 4 p.m., 9/1, renters day 2, 9/2, renters day 3, 9/3, renters leave at 4 p.m., 9/4, there's no renters at the house. And I have pictures going along with it. It's in the packet.
And those photographs are in the package?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I continue to show more rental calendars. They're updated rental calendars showing that there's like more 3- and 4-day rentals.
And do these rentals are in the same week?
They're within the same month. They're not the same week.
Okay. But they're less than a full week?
Less than a full week.
Okay. Nothing further, Special Magistrate. Based upon the evidence testimony presented here this morning, we would ask that the Special Magistrate find that the property owner and the property to be in violation of Land Development Code Section 34-2391, which is a section of the code that specifies in this zoning category daily rentals or rentals of less than a full week are not allowed in this particular area. And again, the remedy that the staff would ask, to some degree, will overlap with the previous rulings, that they cease the daily rentals. In this case, that they cease all the rentals until, one, they get the properly permitted, and moving forward after getting properly permitted, that they only allow rentals for a minimum stay of 7 days. And if not, we ask that the Special Magistrate give the, I think historically, Special Magistrate, you've given the property owner a certain period of time to purge themselves of the booked rentals.
It won't be necessary.
But that
yes,
won't be
ma'am.
necessary based upon your prior ruling. And that they, once they get permitted properly pursuant to your ruling, the 2 previous cases, that they just comply with the code and not have weekly rentals. Daily rentals in a weekly zone.
Requesting a one-time fee on this one?
No, we're just asking that it be that the violation be found, so if in the future
Okay.
it can be moved forward as a repeat violation. But we would ask that the special magistrate impose the administrative fee.
I think when you meet with her, maybe explain to her also the distinction between the timeframes on this. All right, I hereby, do we have, let her go ahead and come up? Please state your name. So this one's different. This one is regarding the rentals.
Anya Ortiz Carballo. I have a question. She says that you asked for an affidavit. It's my neighbor. Did he come and ask if it was myself or a family member there? Because a lot of times in our calendar, we'll mark off, like, if I'm coming for a weekend or if my mom is coming for a weekend, we'll mark the weekend off on our calendars, for example. I'm not
Okay.
saying that every time,
Do you-
because we have had like 5-day rentals, which will change it now, but I come and stay like on a Friday to Monday, and I have to block my calendar. There's no way to differentiate, and I know my nosy neighbor, he can come over and ask, hey, is this family, before he makes a call and makes you guys come out. Or you guys, if he actually calls you and makes you drive there, you can ask, is this family?
I think,
Or is
I
this
think
a
we had
rental?
I think we had a similar situation not too long ago, and what we suggested was, if you're staying, go ahead and contact the town and let them know that it's you.
Or like if we have friends coming over
Yeah,
and they're
just
gonna
let them know that
stay.
it's, yeah, just let them know that it's
Okay.
not a rental.
Only because they can just ask if someone is there, or, because my neighbor's gonna call, even for a 7-day rental, he'll be calling every week, but they can just ask, that would kind of
Your best shot is go straight to the source.
straight to her. Okay, and we do
Straight
mark
to
our
the source.
calendar, and we won't rent anymore unless it's 7 days, because we do have 5-day rentals.
You gotta
On
up
our-
it to the 7.
We'll update it to the 7 for
Yeah.
sure.
That really is
Yeah.
the key. Alternatively, they can work with the company, I think it was
Oh, yeah,
VRBO,
it's
to
easy.
say
That's-
that, when it's personal, when it's family, or to block it out and say personal, not available for rental.
I think it's easier if she
No,
just calls.
It doesn't, yeah, and it won't show when you block it.
Yeah, I don't think so, yeah.
What it's for or who it's for. It literally just, you get to choose from your annual calendar the days if you want it. So you mark them off. They all look exactly the same in all the websites. When you print it, there's no telling if it's a personal or if it's a renter.
I think my best suggestion to you is send her an email, get her email, and every time you
Yeah.
have that way you
Just
have it,
send
you
it
have it in
out.
Or a
writing.
calendar.
And like a
Yep.
name of
Count.
like whoever's staying, this is my mom or my sister.
Great, that
Okay.
will
That,
work.
that should
Only
work.
because we do stay there as well
And I understand.
sometimes.
Understand.
Alrighty, I hereby find that the violation as stated in the notice of violation did exist. However, we have a commitment from the property owner to not allow it to happen anymore. Because of the prior orders not allowing any residents to stay at the property, we don't have to give her extra time to go ahead and purge out whatever she has rented as of this time. I'm going to impose no fine, however, I am going to assess the $75 in fees and costs as incurred by the town and bring this matter before the magistrate.
Thank you.
Okay, and then
Last but not least, on this property, case number 17 on the agenda, case number 20-001. Officer Lee, back on the hot seat. Officer Lee, you previously been sworn in, that's correct?
Correct.
And you previously testified that you're employed by the town of Fort Myers Beach as a code enforcement officer?
Correct.
Are you familiar with the property that is subject of case number CE 20-0001?
Yes, that's correct.
What is the location of the property?
268-270 Nature View Court.
And what is the nature of the violation in the code section?
The nature of the violation is section 14-62, litter on occupied private property. Is unlawful for any person to throw or deposit litter on, occupied private property. You must place them in a trash can or recycling bin, and so forth and so on.
Right. And did you inspect the property to determine if there was a violation of the section 14-62 of the town code?
Yes, that's correct.
Could you please describe what the violation specifically was?
Yes, so there was a complaint that came in about renters having a load of trash after their stay. And it was on it was a Friday, but I didn't get it to my desk until Monday. So when I go to inspect the property, there was still lids or trash scattered throughout the property. Like I said, I tried to contact the property owner to say, hey, can you have somebody just come pick it up? But it was like a dead phone number. So I just issued them a $100 citation because of the fact that last year I gave them a warning for trash and they came to compliance. But, in efforts to reach out to them about, getting trash picked up, just get them a $100 citation for it was a repeat violation. And just also notify them about the 24-hour pickup and how a trash can is supposed to be to your, the side of your home after trash pickup.
Is this a repeat?
Well, the warning was issued.
Oh, so it's a warning,
Yeah,
the
it was
one
a
you presented
warning,
the first
yeah,
one, okay.
yeah. And you can see in the packet, there was a warning that was issued back in 2019 November. They came into compliance, of course, and then back in several weeks ago, that's when I gave them a $100 citation.
Did you take photographs of the alleged violation when you inspected the property?
Yes, after the email complaint, you see that this is what the trash looked like on the weekend that the picture was sent to us, or the night of the picture was sent to us, so that the email was sent. Then when I went to go inspect it Monday, I still seen like litters of trash on the property scattered throughout. And of course, the trash wasn't, it was there all weekend. It's supposed to be to the side of the house. So that's when I issued the $100 citation.
So when was the last inspection you did on the property?
The last inspection I did is, the first initial inspection was the Monday of, so that was January 6th, this inspection for the trash. It was picked up, and then I drove by there later on today, and the trash was picked up. But that's
Okay.
after I already issued the $100 citation.
So, but it is in compliance now?
Yes, it's in compliance now, correct.
Did you forward a copy of the citation and post a copy of the citation on the property?
Yes, that's correct.
Did you receive back a green card?
Yes.
Okay. Special Magistrate, based upon the evidence testimony presented here this morning, we would ask that you find that the citation, sorry, trying to find the number, 1438 was properly issued for a violation of Section 14-62 of the code, and impose a fine of $100 plus administrative fees for trash on site in accordance with code section that was cited by staff. $75 is the admin fee. Payable within 10 days.
Do we have the property owner coming up? So this one is different, this one's trash? Well, that sounded like it was more than raccoons.
We have, well,
I-
that's
I'm not,
common. I mean, unfortunately, it just happens. We have ties on them, we have the bungee cords. I thought this was from the Christmas pickup or the New Year's pickup, that they missed the pickup or they changed the dates. So that stayed over that extra day. I wasn't here, but, I mean, well,
Probably need
Get
somebody
harder.
local to go ahead and be watching over your property.
yeah. Well, I mean, we do the bungee cords. Normally, it's not a issue unless they them off, and that happens. I mean, I can't, I have a neighbor that I can call.
Probably so they can keep an eye out on,
Yeah.
because this one might have been one that you could have avoided. All right, I hereby find that the violation as stated in citation number 1438 did exist. However, it has been corrected. I'm going to impose a one-time fine of the $100 and $75 in fees and costs as incurred by the town in bringing this matter before the magistrate, payable within 10 days.
thank you. And again, we'll get with Ms. Ortiz after the remaining cases to go over the issues.
What else do we have in the audience?
Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 18, case number CE 190026. The presenting officer is going to be Eli Lee. Officer Lee, Are you familiar with case CE 190026 that we're here for this morning?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you please just tell the special magistrate the location of the property in question?
It is, I'm sorry, it's 1661 Estero Boulevard, Kia Estero Shops.
And what is the nature of the violation?
Operating a parking lot without a use permit.
Okay. Have you, please describe to the special magistrate how you are familiar with this property and the operation of the illegal parking lot?
Yeah, so this case was kind of brought to me after the previous code enforcement officers. The parking lot is operated without a use permit. Per the town ordinance, you have to have a use permit to operate a parking lot. So the original notice of violation was sent out January 1st of 2019. And we have the original, postings, of course, the green card, the return. And then we have the original notice, 8/15/2019, that was sent out as well. Letting know the hearing date, the posting of it, the certified, the return. Then we have the amended as well for today's hearing with the posters and the green cards and so forth and so on. And as you get to the back of the packet, the first photo that you see is a picture that the previous code enforcement officer, Joe K, took a picture of with the parking lot operated without a use permit. They have helpers, you can say, that's charging people for like $10 to $15. It kind of varies different days for people to park there, and all this without a use permit. And as you can see in the PowerPoint, but as you navigate through the pictures, fast forward to like the October, I took a picture of the parking lot. Of course, it is still, operated without use permit. And I believe October as well is when we had Roar Offshore. I took a picture of that, and that's when they will still operate without a use permit. Of course, fast forward to January, they're still operating without a use permit. You can see in the pictures. They're not time-stamped on the pictures, but if you look at the PowerPoint, you see the days what I took the picture of, and as a result. And as of today, they still have a use permit for the parking lot.
They're basically using it as a charge by park instead of using it for the intended purpose, which was the businesses there.
Correct. Special magistrate, this property is a retail office complex that was permitted as such by Lee County prior to the Townsend Corporation. The evidence is that it is being operated as a commercial parking lot in addition to its regular, what it's there for, which is to provide spaces for the retail establishments. Under our code, that requires a special exception. And the applicant, or the property owner, has not submitted such an application, has not obtained such approvals, and therefore is in violation of the town code.
Sounds like it is available for.
Subject to going through the process, it can be allowed, but it's never been permitted as such. And as a result, until the appropriate approvals are required, which would also require the site to be improved, brought up to code, it is in violation of our regulations.
All right. We have somebody here on behalf of the property owner. Come on up, state your name and relationship to the case, please. Were you sworn? Were you sworn in?
Pardon?
Were you sworn in? Do you do you affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, nothing but the truth?
Yeah, I'm Carmelo Nacarado. Purchased the property that was February March the 2nd of 2017. I'm a businessman. I've been in business for 48 years. I'm in Michigan. Properties in Florida, and so first time that I come down here.
Sir, can you please speak
You
to the
gotta try to
microphone?
speak at the mic. Yeah, there you go.
That was in 2002, and at the time, the property was managed by Tropical Hut, which she was part of. She owned 80% of the property, so I kind of fell in love with the property in 2002, and her name was it is still, I'm still in touch with her and everything. Okay, his name Jovan Lucas and Lady Lucas. Okay, so I bought property through them, and this and that, which I own, still own in Fort Myers Beach right over here. And I asked, this is, because the way the building it was built, you know what I'm saying, that's just built like a bunker. And I'm 2.5 acres of land, and I told her, I said, listen, just in case, I asked her, who owns this building? She says, it's a lady from Germany. She says, I own 8%, and I'm managing the property for her. Okay, so I told her, just in case, whenever she decides to sell it, yeah, call. That's what she did. What I'm saying, a lake full of property. Her son inherited the property. So he listed the property with some brokerage further in Naples. And she said, that's listed with find the property. Okay, so the property was built in 1976. In the county records, it shows right there, commercial, lot, allowed to do beach parking at a fee. Okay, so when I bought the property, that's when I found that out. With the diligence and this and that. So the town incorporated in 1995. They had never had any problems, ever. All the sun, you know what I'm saying? They cited me, with the violation by operating a parking lot without a permit. So what I did, I came over here the second day that they passed the violation. So I went to talk to Jason Green. She says, Carmen, don't worry about it. We haven't got no ordinance in places. We don't know how to go about. Whenever we have everything straightened out over here, how we're going to go about it, I'll give you a call. Never heard from them. I've been harassed. I've been threatened. This has been a disaster for me. I bought the property, like I said, I closed it down on March the 2nd. I applied for a permit because there used to be 2 entrances to the property. I applied for a permit at the town over here immediately to close the one entrance by the hardware store there. Okay, going through the alley there and this and that. So when I came to apply for a permit, they asked me, why do you want to close that entrance? I said, listen, we cannot control the parking lot. I said, it's too dangerous. People, they go to the post office. I says, they drive at 40, 50 miles an hour. I says, I need a permit. I got to close that entrance. After a couple of months, they should be the permit. Okay. So anyway, March the 24th, this lady, okay, it came, another thing too, I got an okay from the fire marshal, fire chief, and from the police department, if I could close on daily basis with cones, a ribbon across, that one particular entrance that I closed. I was sitting there, it was around 1:30, this lady, she pulled up to me. She pulled up right to the cones. She says, what are you doing over here? I told her the situation. She didn't want to listen. She says, either you're going to remove those cones or I'm going to run over. I stood up and says, well, you're going to run over the cones, running me over too. I said, she said, I'm going to call the cops. Immediately, there were 5 or 6 cars. This was a setup. They told me to remove the cones. I told them, here are the phone numbers from the fire department, from the police department. It says, I'm allowed to do this.
Well, you're not here about the cones.
Pardon?
You're not here about the cones. That's the reason.
No, I'm telling you what's going
Okay.
on with this property now. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I refused to remove the cone. So what did? They threw me on the ground. They arrested me like a.
Sir, we got to talk about the parking
Okay.
lot. We still have other people in the audience that want to keep going with their lives. Let's go ahead and focus on, I gave you a lot of leeway.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
okay.
focus
So,
on,
no, like I said,
on the
there is-
violation.
there is, I don't know what is with this town over here, that's there, if you read when the building was, I go, what the, at the time, what what it is there in the county records. I don't go by their ordinance. The structure has been there for 43, 44 years. We cannot change. They cannot enforce their new ordinance. That period. We're gonna have to.
Do you have evidence in the county records that that property was authorized to go ahead and have
Yes, ma'am.
beach
It's in black.
parking?
It's in black and white.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and,
And
do
he
you
wa-
have that,
he
do you
wasn't
have
here.
that document with you?
We had a hearing.
Sir, do you have that document with you?
I got it in my truck.
Okay, you got it in your truck? Okay, so let's go
He
ahead.
does. He has a copy. He has a
Okay.
copy.
Madam Special Magistrate, what the property owner is alluding to is that we are
I'll
here.
look at it. You're right. I'll look at it.
We
Let
have,
him go ahead if he has it, hold on.
there was, through legal counsel, the property owner challenged the determination or interpretation of staff that he needed a special exception permit. He, through counsel, alleged that he had a vested right to continue this operation because it's always been done that way. And we, prior to the hearing, asked for his counsel to provide us with any copies that may exist from Lee County, because the assertion was that this was permitted by Lee County, showing that this location has been approved for specifically commercial parking use, not the retail establishment with associated parking, but specifically listing commercial parking activity. No evidence was presented. The town council ruled that he did not have a vested right. So that's why we're here, because.
So he's saying that he has some document with him, so I'm
Oh,
gonna,
they do.
so what,
If it-
here's what I'm gonna do.
If it is the information that he.
Here's, hold,
Okay.
here's what I'm gonna do. He says he has something in his truck that proves
I'm
otherwise.
sorry, ma'am.
I'm
I
gonna
left-
go
I left
ahead.
the- I left the, I walked over here. I left the truck at the plaza.
Okay, now the story's changing.
No, like I said, they do have a document. Then my counsel, I give a copy of the documents to all of you know what I mean?
Wouldn't that
The
have been a
the
document
counsel is
important to
and
bring
a
with you
copy-
today?
And a copy to him.
Wouldn't that have been a document important for you to bring today?
I'm gonna bring him over here. I'm gonna bring him.
All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and table your case. I'm gonna keep hearing the remainder of the case. That should give you
And
enough
I'll be
time to
back.
go ahead and get that document. But I will tell you right now that if you're not back with, if you don't have that document, we're gonna go ahead
I'll be here
and
in
proceed
I'll
as if
be
it
here in
doesn't
about-
exist.
In about, give me about 15 minutes.
We should have plenty of time to go ahead and hear the rest of the cases, okay? So we're gonna table it. All right, let's do the next case.
Yes, we are now moving on to case number 19, case number CE 190404, owner of record John Surface. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kristen Schumacher is the code enforcement staff member to be presenting the case. Ms. Schumacher, you've been previously sworn, that's correct?
Yes,
And what's your position with the town of Fort Myers Beach?
short-term rental coordinator.
Are you familiar with case CE 190404?
Yes.
How are you so familiar?
I found this property was not registered, and I sent out notice to say they need to be registered, and they did not come into compliance. So I did send out a notice of violation, notice of hearing. This began in June, and to this day, they are not registered.
How did you ascertain that they weren't registered?
We use a program, Host Compliance, that gives us an address to go along with the advertising online. First page is verify the address that goes along with the advertisement. The advertisement is the next one from Airbnb.
And after you sent out the warning to the property owner, did you receive any communications from the property owner or anyone representing the property owner about coming in and registering this location for short-term rentals?
I did not receive any communication from the property owner, but there was somebody named Karen that first called me and they told me they didn't need to register as they were considered a inn. But through further research, I told them they still needed to be registered. They did have other properties that they did register.
Okay. As of today's date, has this short-term rental submitted an application to the town to be registered as such?
No.
Is that a violation of section 10-198 of the town code?
Yes.
Does the material within the packet that has been provided to the special magistrate contain the materials that you previously testified as to the location of the property and its use as a short-term rental?
Yes.
Does it also contain the copies of the notice of warning, notice of violation, and notice of hearing?
Yes.
Did you, in addition to mailing the notice of violation and notice of hearing, post the property?
Yes.
Is that information contained within the file?
Yes.
Special magistrate, based upon the evidence testimony, well, first we move into evidence the file, and based upon the evidence testimony presented here this afternoon, we'd ask that you find that the property and the property owner are in violation of section 10-198 on registered short-term rental, town code, town of Fort Myers Beach. Ms. Schumacher, one last thing. Did you ascertain the name of the property owner to send the notice to?
Yes.
And is that information contained within the file?
Yeah.
Nothing further, Special Magistrate, unless you have any questions.
Documents are so received into evidence. Do we have somebody here on behalf of the property owner? Please come on up, state your name and relationship to the case, please.
Karen Lauzzi, and I'm the general manager, also his significant other. I misunderstood this whole thing from the beginning because we're the Anchor Inn Cottages. So I assume we've been paying a license on it for the, last 25 years, so I didn't quite understand what all this was. I'm more than happy to do the registration today.
Right, and I saw on the file, there's an email regarding payment having been made in the amount
I
of
made the payment, plus I
200
paid the late fee.
and 50. Does a town concur? Huh?
Kristen, if you could explain.
There's several properties. She did register for
Oh,
275, 277 Virginia. This address is for 265, 267 Virginia.
Ms. Schumacher, is it your testimony that it's a requirement in the code that each individual property be registered?
Each unit must be registered.
Okay, thank you.
that provides some clarity for you, ma'am? Yes, it does. Okay, alrighty, and you probably want to take advantage that you're here and take care of doing your registration for it. Might as well get it over and done with today. All right, what is the?
Subject to We just, at this point in time, asked for a finding of violation, so if in the future, there's a failure to register and renew on an annual basis, which is a requirement that then can be treated as a repeat violation, we take at face value what the property owner says that they're going to go ahead and meet with staff and get it registered as soon as this hearing is over. Yeah, $75 admin fee.
Okay, so I hereby find that the violation, as stated in the notice of violation, did exist and continues to exist. However, the property owner has, well, actually, the agents for the property owner has represented that the registration will be handled immediately, meaning today, and therefore there will be a no one-time fee. However, I am assessing $75 in fees and costs as incurred by the town and bringing this matter before the magistrate. Should the property owner not register, begin the paperwork for the registration of the property within the next 24 hours, the property shall be subject to a fine of $200 in addition to the admin fees. So make sure you...
Yeah, Special Magistrate, based upon the promise of the property owner that they're going to register, we will obviously you just need to place the number on the website. We just ask for a finding of violation and give the property owner
For the next
3
case?
days. Yeah, for the next
Okay,
case, if the
so
property is amenable.
Let's go ahead
to-
and formally
yeah.
present it so we follow procedure.
Yeah. Next case is number 20 on the agenda, case number CE 190413. The officer that's presenting the case is Ms. Schumacher. Ms. Schumacher, you've been previously sworn in, and you are the person responsible for, at the town of Fort Myers Beach, responsible for administering the town's short-term rental regulations, correct?
Yes.
And pursuant to section 10-198, is it a requirement that people not only register, but then also place their registration number on any advertisement, either internet or in print or any other manner that showing that the property's been registered?
Yes.
And in this particular case, the property at 265, 267 Virginia Avenue, have they placed that registration number on their advertisements or website?
No.
At this point in time, we'd enter into evidence the file. Does the file show the advertisement without the registration number?
That's correct.
And does the file also contain the warning and the notice of a violation, notice of hearing for today's hearing, both mail and posting?
Yes.
At this time, Special Magistrate, the town has no further evidence and would ask that based upon the evidence testimony as well as the prior statements of the property owner, that we simply ask for a finding of violation and give the property owner 3 days after the registration to post the registration number on the website for compliance. If not, then the same result.
Would like to add, or do you understand the?
Do I just follow her and get that all done right now?
Yeah, she will. They'll help you go ahead and get the registration
Okay,
paperwork
perfect.
taken care of, and you're gonna receive a number. So you gotta go ahead and put it in all your advertisement. So that's this one is in reference to you advertising the properties for rent without having that number on it. So you want to make sure that those numbers are in them. So, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my ruling. I hereby find that the notice that the violation as stated in the notice of violation did exist and continues to exist. However, the property owner's agent has represented that the registration will be done immediately, and I'm thereby granting the property owner an additional 3 days after the registration is obtained to place that number in all its advertisement. Failure to go ahead and include that number in its advertisement within that time frame will result in a $200 fine and admin fees of in the amount of $75 for fees and costs incurred by the town and bring.
I believe that we can go back to case number
Oh, he's back, okay.
18, CE 190026, Kia Stera
Go
Shops.
ahead and show him first, and then bring it to me.
I've seen it.
You've seen him?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
I've seen it.
Just want to make sure, give him the opportunity to go ahead and review it. Okay. I have reviewed the documents were presented by the respondent, which included a series of documents from the county official records.
Are there, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm seeing them, including the site plan, the original site plans. However, none of these documents actually include any reference or was part of the deed.
Are there, everything is there.
Documents actually say that you can go ahead and use it as space parking. Everything that I'm seeing is two affidavits regarding the counting of space to see how many can be rented versus what was being occupied by the tenants.
And
None
those
of
aren't,
which-
those aren't official records of Lee County.
Correct.
Those are,
None
that's,
of which are, I agree.
none of the site plans that, the official documents that are contained in that material anywhere state that for this particular property, that it's been approved for commercial parking
It
use.
says it right there on that.
No, it does not.
Sir, what actually says that is the interpretation of the Pavase law firm, which is not legally binding against the town and has no effect whatsoever on ordinances or public records.
That is, like I said, public record right there from the county.
And I understand, and I saw them, I reviewed them. There is nothing in here that actually allows,
It says that the commercial lot,
it's commercial, because it's a commercial building.
commercial lot.
So it's a commercial lot for purposes of, it's a commercial building, so your tenants need to be able to park there.
Commercial lot.
That doesn't mean you can go ahead and rent out the remaining spaces to patrons outside without having the proper authority from from the town to do it.
The building, man, I bought the building.
Sir, I've heard your story, I gave you leeway to produce documents. The documents you produce do not provide for anything. Sir, I'm about to rule.
Okay, no problem.
I hereby find that the violation, as stated, the notice of violation did exist and continues to exist. I'm allowing the property owner 30 days to go ahead and obtain the required permit, otherwise face a fine of $200 a day until the property is brought into compliance. Sir, I'm also assessing $75 in fees and cost as incurred by the town in bringing this matter before the magistrate.
Thank you. Special Magistrate. The next item on the agenda is item number 23, case number CE 180446. Presiding officer is Officer Eli Lee. Special Magistrate, the only purpose for this item, this is an imposition of lien. This is not
So it's here for certification?
yeah, it's for certification. In the packet, you have a summary of what's occurred in this case to date. The original hearing date was on June 20th, 2019. It gave the property owner 45 days to come into compliance. If he did not come into compliance within that time frame, a $250 a day fine would begin to accrue. You also impose a $75 in administrative fees. The 45 days for compliance ran as of August 4th, 2019. From August 24th to today's date is 179 days. 179 days times the $250 a day violation results in a accrued to date $44,750 plus the administrative cost. That's a total of $44,825. We would ask that the special magistrate certify that amount, authorize staff to record a lien in the public records of Lee County. It should constitute, an order to that effect in the records of Lee County, and that order shall constitute a lien against the property, and that it shall continue to accrue the $250 per day violation until brought into compliance.
You have somebody there on behalf of the property owner?
There is someone here, but I wish to emphasize, we're not here to re-argue the underlying case. Just the amount of...
It's still out of compliance. Yeah,
correct.
All right, so is the property out of compliance?
No, Your Honor.
Because you state your name, please?
Terry Prasad.
Okay, so what's going on with this property? We still having to deal
Your
with
Honor, this property was sealed with this compactor on it. The certificate of occupancy was issued with this compactor on it. I've talked to Mr. Heron, I've talked to the town managers. We've appealed this matter in Lee County. We've all agreed that this matter would be stayed and no further action would be taken until council looked at this case and granted us a variance for the compactor. Now, I have here the original complaint that was listed, that was issued. And can I approach?
Again, Special Magistrate, we would object on the, we haven't seen it, but
Yeah,
this
I
all goes
want,
to
that's why
the,
I want the county attorney to go ahead and see that before I take a look at it.
goes to the underlying violation, not to the issue of compliance.
Just go ahead and give that over to him, so he knows what you're showing me. Before me, I've been handed by the Mr. Prasad, a copy of the original notice of violation dated June 6th of 2018, and then pictures of the property.
No one disputes that the compactor's still there, and no permit has been obtained for it. I think
The other document he handed over to me was his request for a variant. I'm not finding a date on when it was submitted.
Submitted back in July of 2019, Your Honor. The town has willfully and intentionally withhold that permit or withhold that hearing. I had this discussion with Mr. Herron this morning again. Why isn't the town granting me my hearing so we can get this matter resolved? Mr. Herron said I did not submit all the documents, that I did not submit a mailing list. I showed him proof that the mailing list was submitted. I showed him an email from the staff last night saying that because the matter's been sitting there for so long, they want an updated list. I've done everything I can to get this matter resolved. This matter should not even be here because if you look at the original complaint, Your Honor, it says that if it's a movable container, it needs to be screened in. That's not a movable container. That's a compactor that's attached to the property that was CO'd when the property was reopened back in October 2015.
Talking about the difference between portable versus removable versus permanent.
Correct.
I don't see that. I'm asking you, where are you seeing that? Each refuse container that is not movable shall be, so yours,
Mine is not movable, it's attached to the property, it's electrical.
exactly, so it's not movable.
No.
Exactly, that's why you're getting cited, because it's not movable. You need to go ahead and close it.
it says, each refuse container that is not movable shall be opaquely screened from view
That
from
the
streets.
non-movable ones are exempt from it.
They're wrong on that, but anyways, the town staff.
You gotta speak on the mic.
Again, Your Honor, this compactor was CO'd on the property. When I met with the town staff, Jason Green in particular, the town requirements prohibits me from screening this compactor because it's so tall. Again, also, this is in the VE zone. This is right on the beach. They would not permit a fencing that tall on the beach.
Okay, so it looks like you've submitted the request for the variance. So you're
Since
still wearing-
July of 2019.
Right, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go ahead and it's before me on a request for certification. Council is right in the sense that when I issue an order and it doesn't get complied with, the issue before me at certification point is to whether there's compliance or not. So just because I enter an order today certifying the order doesn't mean you're out of remedies. Once that gets corrected, or you get your variance, or you enclose it, whatever you end up doing, you can always appeal to the city, to the town council for mitigation, and you can explain all the steps that you took and the reason, those arguments that you're presenting to me. However, that is outside of my jurisdiction. There is a violation of my order that was
This matter has
that was
also
not
been.
complied with.
Okay, can I speak for a second? This matter has also been removed from this court. It's already been appealed in Lee County, so it should not be heard here.
How was it appealed in Lee County? I didn't see any documents saying that.
Mr.
order-
Herron is fully aware that it's been appealed in Lee County. Both my, there's several cases on this property, Your Honor, and all the cases have been. on my.
Is one of them relating to the enclosure, or one of the
Yes,
cases?
yes.
Okay, is it?
No, ma'am. Relates to the parking lot use, and that is the special exception and the variance that he's seeking.
Correct, I remember that.
This has been cited separately, constitutes a separate violation.
So this is not the case that is before
And,
Lee
and
County?
whether or not it's been appealed or not, it's still not in compliance. And
Okay.
the system, there's nothing in the statute that I'm aware of, or in our code, that says that a filing an appeal stops
enforcement.
the enforcement
Yes, Your Honor,
process.
but why are they playing the game of not issuing the hearing so we can get this in thing? Why are they trying to continue
That is-
to daily find the property when everything has been submitted
That
to
is
them.
outside my jurisdiction, on what am I authorized to do. So what I'm gonna be doing is I am gonna be finding that violation of the order. I'm gonna be certifying the order, which means it's
You're
gonna
not
become a
listening to anything
lien.
I'm saying.
Stop. I'm gonna go ahead and certify it as a lien, and like I said, go ahead, and once you get corrected, either the violation gets corrected, either because you obtain a variance, or you screen it in, or you do something with it, or you appeal it. You can go ahead and, you have many remedies past me, but my hands are tied based on the evidence that's being presented. You have alternatives past my order.
But what I'm saying, Your Honor, this matter has already been removed from here and brought to Lee County.
I'm hearing it's a different case.
Okay.
So if that is,
Then can you give me
if
30
that's the
days?
situation,
Okay.
if that's the situation, then what I suggest is that you obtain a copy of the filed complaint, you take it over to the council, and you make that argument, okay?
Can you give me 30 days? I'll bring all those documents.
I'm not
into
gonna
you.
go ahead and give you 30 days. I'm gonna go ahead and enter my order, and then you can go ahead and appeal to the council, okay?
It's already been filed to
I'm gonna
appeal
go
to the
ahead and issue
council.
my ruling. I hereby find that the magistrate's order dated July 3rd of 2019 has not been corrected pursuant to said order, and the property remains out of compliance. And as such, I'm here certifying said order in the amount of $44,825. And since the property is not in compliance, I'm also including the accrual of $250 per day until it is brought into compliance. By certifying this order shall become a lien recorded in the official records of Lee County. Right, so after this, your next step is going to go ahead and appeal to the council.
Once it's in compliance.
Once, yeah. Again, but you can achieve compliance if you get your variance, or you screen it, or you remove it. Whatever you choose to do, bring it into compliance, you can go ahead and take it out to the council.
Madam Special Magistrate, the last two remaining cases
24, 25, and 26 have been continued.
are item 27 and 28. They both involve the same piece of property and the same violators. The Special Magistrate entered a order in the first case, which is CE 190422, on October 4th, 2019, in the amount of $2,075. The property has not been brought into compliance, or has it? Staff?
It has at that point, but it is no longer in compliance.
But that's a new
That's a
violation.
new violation,
This is
but-
just recording of a lien on
So
this
that one,
order.
so that order was complied with,
Fine with-
but not paid for.
Not paid.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's correct. So it is set in the amount of $2,075.
Okay.
Based upon the evidence testimony, we would ask that the Special Magistrate certify the amount of the fine, and that the property was brought into compliance but past the time specified, and that a fine of $2,075 accrued. Certify that amount. It currently is in compliance, or may not be, and authorize staff to record an order to that effect, and the same shall constitute a lien against the property.
We have somebody here on behalf of the property owner? Please come and up, state your name and relationship to the property, please.
My name is Tracy Palin. I work for Turnkey Vacation Rentals, the property manager.
Okay. So, why did it take so long to go ahead and get this taken care of?
My understanding is I am here representing them, and they'd like to see if we can reduce the fine. They understand that they were out of compliance when they arrived and found the notices on August 4th. They contacted us, and on August 6th, we pulled their listing until they could get into compliance. And then once they were in compliance, which I think was around the 14th, we put them back on the listing. So if that is the case, then 5 of the citations are moot because they weren't listed any longer, is my understanding.
Special Magistrate, not to belabor the point, but this is identical to the previous case we heard where they're asking to rehear the underlying violations.
I don't think she's disputing the violation. She's just trying to excuse the delay of the registration.
Correct. And so what happened is if you look in the file, which we entered in evidence, it shows that these were citations for every day that the activity was taking place in violation of the code. To the extent that the property has been brought in compliance and continues to be in compliance, as Your Honor just stated in the previous case, there are remedies to request a reduction in the fine to the town council per our code. And we, to the extent that they submit such an application, we'll process it and put it before the town council in a timely fashion, and they can make those arguments before the town council. Frankly, staff doesn't take a position one way or the other when the items go before the town council for lien reduction and release. So as whatever the town council may order, they satisfy that, we then would issue a release of lien.
I'm seeing here that if they became aware on August 4th, there were violations still accruing until August 13th. All right. Like you said, you can go ahead and take it, appeal it with the council. I hereby find that, based on the evidence presented, that the magistrate's order dated October 4th of 2019 was not complied with, and as such, fines accrued in the amount of $2,075 during the time period that it was out of compliance past the timeframes prescribed in the magistrate's order. I hereby certify this order in the amount of $2,075, which shall not continue to accrue because in regards to this case only, it was brought into compliance shortly after the magistrate's order was entered. By certifying this order, it shall become a lien recorded in the Lee County Public Records. Okay, next one.
Yeah, and we, as we move into the other one, to the extent that the property owner's representative needs, we can help them explain what the process is moving forward to request a reduction of the accrued fine and release of the lien to the town council. But in case, the next case is case 28 on the agenda, case number CE 190423. Similar to the case that we just heard, the property owner is Dean and Eileen Driscoll. The location of the property is 463 Washington Court. Special magistrate entered an order on October 4th, 2019, imposing a fine of $160 for violations of section 10-198 of the town code. That amount has not been paid. As a result, the property owner is in noncompliance with the special magistrate's order. We ask that the special magistrate certify that amount and authorize staff to record an order to that effect in Public Records, Lee County, and become a lien against the property.
All right, do you have anything further on behalf of the property owner? This is regarding the registration number not present on advertisement. Based on the evidence presented, I hereby find that the magistrate's order dated October 4th, 2019, in regards to case number CE 19-0423, was not complied with within the time frame stated therein, and fines accrued in the amount of $160. The property, as regards to this case, has been brought into compliance. However, I am certifying the amount of $160 as an order that shall become a lien against the property and recorded in the public records of Lee County, Florida. So, all right, and I think that concludes our agenda for today.
That concludes the matter.
I'm sorry.
All right.
For today.
Thank you all.
Thank you.